Welcome to some new r/malicious compliance stories, where people comply to the letter but not the spirit of a request. I hope you had a great day. Thanks for all the likes and comments on the last video. If you would like to support this channel, please hit the like button and consider subscribing if you enjoy the content. And now, let's start with the first story. It's called Vacation Work. I'd been working at this company for about 3 years. I had been consistently growing in my role and eventually was given a project to own with 1 to 2 other team members if needed, but it was a major project with a quick turnaround. I determined I could do it myself, though it would be tight, and since I was hoping for a promotion, I took on the project solo. I was able to deliver the project slightly ahead of schedule and with better quality than expected, which allowed us to make a huge sale. The head of the company gave me an award at an all-hands meeting for the work I did. My boss let me know I was on track for an end-of-year promotion with a nice pay raise and more responsibilities. But I was needed in another part of the business, so I was going to have to transfer to a new manager that was notoriously hard to work with. I transferred to this manager, and at the first meeting we had to get on the same page, I brought up that I had a 3-week planned vacation in 4 months. I had never taken a vacation, so I had 6 weeks saved up and did not want to start losing it. He told me, of course it would be fine, and we would be able to make it work. About a week later, we have our first meeting with our product team. They had a new, large project idea and wanted it to be released in just 3 months. As my team looked over the details, we knew this was a 6 to 8 months project at best, so it would be better to deliver it in small increments, so they still had something to show in 3 months. Or we would need to push out the schedule. My boss was adamantly against both. Throughout the next week, he made us have last-minute 3 to 4 hour brainstorming sessions every day. But he would not even tell us until around 3 PM, forcing all of us to work late every day that week. At the end of the week, there was no way we could figure out to deliver everything on a shorter timeline, so my boss asked me to stay behind after the meeting. For another hour, he railed against me, saying I was failing at this project and that he could not see me getting a good annual review in 4 months, and that a promotion wasn't even on the table. This annual review would also include the project I had just received an award for, which is supposed to encompass 12 months of work, but he was basing this off the first 2 weeks on his new team. At this point, I knew he was ready to use me as a scapegoat for his bad management and started applying elsewhere. We continued working on the project, and sure enough, at the end of 3 months, we were still far from being able to deliver, and my boss was getting heat from up above. Right around this time, I received an offer from another company that would be the promotion I wanted and an even larger pay increase. I accepted the offer and negotiated my start date to be after my vacation, now 3 weeks away. That same day, my boss calls me into his office and tells me we need to talk about this vacation. I reminded him that we had talked about it months before and that everything is booked. Flights, hotels, etc. He would not let up and told me there was no way I could take 3 weeks off with how behind schedule we are. He told me I could go on my trip, but I could not take a vacation and would be expected to be online during our business hours throughout the trip, 4 AM to 1 PM local time in my vacation spot. So every morning while on vacation, I would log in at 4 AM, check emails, answer questions on our internal chat and do the minimum work expected. I was logging off as soon as it hit 1 PM, all without burning any vacation. With 1 week left on vacation, I requested a conference call with my boss to give him my 2 weeks notice. He was shocked and tried everything to get me to stay and finish out the project, including bringing back up a possible promotion. I told him I had already accepted a job with a start date upcoming. I worked my last 2 weeks before moving on to my new job. Because my boss required me not to take the vacation, the company had to pay out all of my accrued vacations once I left. A little less than 7 weeks at this point, including the 3 weeks I had originally planned to take. Now short-staffed, I heard from other co-workers that the project missed 2 more adjusted deadlines, and eventually the manager was demoted before being let go from the company. About 6 months later, the head of the first company asked me to lunch to offer me a role taking over my former boss's old position. I negotiated an even higher pay increase as well as company equity and ended up going back there for 3 more years. The next story is called The Codes. I once worked a well-known chain of grocery stores as a bagger. The company had a different name for it, but for all intents and purposes, the job was to be a beggar. And as the only real requirement for being a beggar is that you have thumbs, it's a position you usually want to get out of so you can get into a better paying department. Some people, however, want you to stay. Enter my supervisor, who I shall call Abby. Abby is a hard worker, dedicated to the job, and an all-around good person. She manages the front end. The cashiers, beggars, and customer service fall under her jurisdiction. She knows that I am reliable, treat customers well, and wants me to stay at the front end. This way I can help her. She can train me to be a cashier. And the company can save money, because while a cashier has a higher pay rate, a beggar cross-trained as a cashier does not. One day I'm helping a customer with a large order, when her card runs out of funds, and we spend a long time deciding what items she wants to keep and what items need to be cancelled. I asked Abby to help, but she is apparently in an important conference call. She tells me I am trained for this and to follow procedure, but me only being a novice and unsupervised, I make a few mistakes. I take the modified list for her approval and to see if I did it correctly, and she finds my mistakes. At the checkout counter she corrects them, makes nice with the customer, and then sweetly asks me to the back office. In the office, Abby becomes very patronizing, going over every mistake with a fine-tooth comb. It rankled me the wrong way, but I stayed quiet. She then said that I was to be a beggar for a while and let her handle the customers and any complications in the front end. A few days later, a gentleman came into the store, urgently wanting to speak with the manager. He had this crazed look in his eye, his hand trembled, and quite frankly had the vibe of someone just a little bit off. Instead of calling the manager, I called the nearest available person that could help him, Abby. They began talking, and I continued work as a beggar. But as I worked, I could overhear snippets of the conversation. The man was urgently in need of someone to listen. There were codes on the back of cigarette packages that were of profound importance to the store, the county, the state, and the nation as a whole. Different versions of cigarettes by the same brand use different ciphers, some of them being only red herrings to obscure the truth. Other brands were completely deceptive, weaving fantastical lies about the state of the world. Circular logic patterns repeated endlessly as this man talked, and Abby only had to say, yeah, okay. But the man went on, offering Abby no recourse except repeating the same three words, her eyes glazing over. Yeah, okay. This conversation went on for 15 minutes as I busied myself with helping customers. The conversation finally ended with Abby saying, "We'll get right on it, sir," and politely ushering him out of the store. She then walks over to me and asked, "What the heck was that?" I shrugged. He said he wanted a manager. She exhaled the longest, loudest sigh I have ever heard her breathe. She told me to get back to work, and for the rest of my time at the front end, she never talked down to me. The last story is called Expense Report. This happened in the spring of '92. I've just completed nearly 4 years of contract work for the US Army in Germany. It's late March and our household goods have been picked up and are on their way back to the States. My wife and I, and the 2 little ones we'd spawned, are going to be in a hotel for the next 30-ish days. I asked my boss what rate was I authorized for my per diem, hotel and meals. Was it the German rate or the US rate? I don't recall what rate he told me, but I then said, "Okay, we are out of here. I see you next time you're at company HQ." With that, we left, rented a car and drove to Paris to visit Euro Disney that had literally opened the day before. We stayed at one of the hotels there at the resort for a week. It was lovely, aside from the weather. I get back to the States, fill out my expense reports. Mind you, I only charged for the hotel and meals, not the park itself, and submit them to my former boss for his approval. He blew up when he got them. "You expense Euro Disney?" "Yes." How am I supposed to justify this? Were my household goods and my residence yet? No. Was I authorized to spend up to X dollars per day for a hotel? Yes. Did Euro Disney exceed that amount? No. But now I have to take this to the contracting officer. Not my problem. And with that, we end today's video. Let me know what you think about the stories. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the stories and today's video? I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like what I do and want to support me, please subscribe and hit the like button. I hope you have a great day. Stay safe. Bye bye.